Hello, BookTube. In the last week or so, I thought I would do something very chaotic, and that is bring back a very old tag from 5 years ago that Steve created. And, well, he didn't create it, but he made it into a tag, and I'm going to be doing the My Favorite Writers tag. These questions were created by Alex at What Page Are You Reading On? Then Steve upgraded it to a tag. And pretty much this tag is a reader's worst nightmare, and it's to rank your favorite authors. So you have three tiers. You have six authors that aren't quite your favorite. Then you have four authors that are maybe your favorites, and then you have five of your favorite authors. And this sent me into a spiral. This list has written tens of times in the last week. Even last night at 1 in the morning, I was like, I've still got to. There's some authors missing, and as I look at this list, I'm realizing I forgot like Russian authors, and I don't want to think about that right now. So moving on, this is my best to do this, and I will be mentioning some more authors because why not? But yeah, and I'm going to tag a lot of people in this later on because I want. There's so many new people since this tag was around, and I thought I'm Snoopy, and it'd be fun to see what everyone's favorites authors are. So let's start. So my six not quite authors. The first one we have is Georgia Hare. She's not quite my favorite. I've read the majority of her Regency and Georgian romances, and I pretty much love all of them. What stops her from being an all-time favorite is I don't like her contemporaries, and I think her mysteries can be a bit hit and miss at times. But her work in histories are just iconic. This is Sylvester, probably my favorite. But books like Regency Buck, A Convenient Marriage, Devil's Club are so iconic, and you should read Georgia Hare because she's iconic and doesn't get the enough attention she deserves. Okay, next we have Shirley Jackson. And I love Shirley Jackson. I've read all of her novels. I read a good chunk of her short stories. I haven't read her like autobiography she done, like Raising Demons and I can't remember the other one. But yeah, I love Shirley Jackson. The Haunting of Hill House or The Bird's Nest is my favorite. But I always think of The Sundial. Like that's the one that always just sticks in my head. So yeah, we got Shirley Jackson. If you haven't read Shirley, check out The Lottery. Do like a short story collection. Try one of her big novels, and you'll probably love her. Next, we have Herman Melville, and Moby Dick's my favorite novel. I think with Melville, what stops him from being an all-time favorite author is I kind of find his novels to be a bit inconsistent. Like I love Typee. I love Umu, the follow-up. White Jacket's really good as well. Obviously, you got Moby Dick. But after that, I feel like he loses the quality a bit. Like once you get to like The Confidence Man, and even Redburn to a certain extent. But I love his short stories as well. They're great. Check them out. And his poetry is so underrated. So yeah, Melville. Next, we have oh, this is gonna be fun. Elizabeth Gaskell. This is Mary Barton, and I'm not an Elizabeth Gaskell cultist. I love Elizabeth Gaskell. My first Gaskell was Mary Barton, and I just fell in love with her. I've never read a book like Mary Barton, especially as in the Victoria novel, but for me, she's just so lovely. Cranford's amazing. North and South. Sylvia Slovis is good. Wives and Daughters, and her ghost stories are really good as well. But Mary Barton alone and North and South are amazing. Next, we have Thomas Hardy is not quite favorite author, and that's pretty much because I love the middle period of Hardy's novels, like from The Hand of Berta all the way to probably The Woodlanders is probably my favorite Hardy novels. Outside of that, stack of novels, I don't like them at all. I don't like Desperate Remedies. I thought it was like a poor man's Wilkie Collins. The Pair of Blue Eyes, I never liked, and his later stuff, I don't know, it's just not fun, and it doesn't work to Hardy's strengths as an author, and his characters have always been unhinged and a bit insane, even for Victorian standards. But I've never liked Tess. I've never liked The Well Beloved or Judy Obscure. I know that may be controversial here, but yeah, so Hardy's not quite a favorite, and I love his poetry more than his novels. And I don't own any of his poetry. I have them as ebooks, and I need to change that. And the last author for not quite my favorite is Susan Casey. I love Susan Casey. She does narrative like science, nature, nonfiction. This is her book about waves. She also has a book about sharks, and I think it's the Marianas Trench, like below the ocean that deep. And I love them so much. What stops her from rising the ranks is that her book about whales sucked, and I was so disappointed. And she only has 4 books. I feel I I don't know. I love if she didn't have that book about whales, she'd be probably be higher. And so I put this on the floor because I don't have room on my desk. So our next list we have is I've got to open it because I forgot the name of it. Maybe my favorite authors, and this is we're gonna ruffle some feathers again. First we have Jane Austen. She's not an all-time favorite, I know. What stops me from calling Jane Austen my all-time favorite author is outside of Persuasion, Pride and Prejudice, and Emma. Like those are the holy trinity, if you would. Like I don't think the other novels and her short stories like are that consistent in terms of quality. I find Sense and Sensibility a bit hit and miss if I'm being a bit honest. And Mansfield Park is a bit underrated and I do like it, and Northanger Abbey's fun. But it's still really good, but I don't think she quite hit the same level of quality in her other novels. And I love Jane Austen though. She is amazing and we love her. And next author, we have, who am I going to pick next? Edith Wharton. She's not quite my favourite author. I've read probably 5 of her books. The House of Mirth I've read. The Age of Innocence. Summer. What's another one I've read? A Sun at the Front. And Custom of the Country. Like those are the main novels and I love all of them. But I don't like her poetry at all. It was so rough. I was like, oh my god, what happened? But yeah, Edith Wharton's amazing. One of the great American novelists in my opinion. If you haven't read her, check her out. Next, we're gonna go, and this again may ruffle some feathers, but I don't care. We have George Eliot. And I love George Eliot. I am a George Eliot defender. I love all of her novels. I'm holding up Romola here because I know some people don't like it, and I will happily ignore them because Romola is fun. Well, it's fun. And I love all of the novels. I love Adam Bede. I even love Mill and the Floss. Felix Holt the Radical is so underrated. You got Middlemarch, you got Daniel Deronda. Her non-fiction's amazing as well. Scenes from a Clerical Life is a bit lower for me. I find that 2 of the short stories don't do as well as one of the other ones. I think they're a bit inconsistent. But George Eliot, you can't beat her. She's one of the greatest English novelists ever. And I will happily defend her, all of her novels, even though she's probably not the most perfect author. And the last one we have for maybe my favourite is Sir Philip Sidney. And the reason why he's so high is mostly because of Astrophil and Stella. It's one of my favourite English works ever. I'm obsessed with it. I think about it all the time. And his Arcadia, of course. I do a reading of the Sidney Psalms on my channel you can find. I love Sir Philip Sidney. He was my introduction to like the Renaissance pretty much. Like before I hadn't done Shakespeare, I hadn't done Spenser. He was the first and I just fell in love with him. He's so many great stuff. What stops him from being higher is the competition. Like the next round of authors, I think I love that bit more. But Sidney's like one of those my favorite gateway authors. And the only one thing I read from him that I didn't like is The Lady of May. I found that wasn't as good as some of his other stuff. But besides that, Sidney is amazing. If you have not read Sidney, check him out if you love 1500s Renaissance works. So we've got Sir Philip Sidney. Next, we have our movies out the way. My all-time favorite authors, and this was pretty easy because I think I know. Um, and these aren't ranked because this could literally like I could finish this video and the list would be different. But yeah, let's start. So the first one we have is Billy Shakes. I love Shakespeare. I'm gonna talk about him more in Shake Temper, but if you want the rundown, I never read Shakespeare in high school. I'm one of those rare people. Both my brother and my sister both had to read him, but I don't know. I just never was assigned him, and so I don't have the scorn when it comes to Shakespeare. I didn't. The only thing I really struggled with Shakespeare is the play format and the way he characters change disguises and they have different names and trying to keep up with all of that I found was a bit hard and challenging at the start. But I love Shakespeare. I have read all of his plays. 2 years ago I done a play a week, sorry, and I just fell in love. I was addicted. It was like crack. And I love Billy Shakes. If I had to pick some of my favorites, it's I always whenever someone asks me what's my favorite Shakespeare plays, I just go silent because I literally don't know. And when I eventually do come up with some, it's a list. But obviously, I love the major tragedies. I love the comedies. I love some of the darker comedies like Measure for Measure and Twelfth Night. I think are so underrated. As You Like It's amazing. All's Well That Ends Well, and Richard the Third, Richard the Second, Henry the Fourth, Henry the Fifth. I love. If you haven't read Billy Shakes, do it. He's worth your time. But yeah, so he's one of my favorites. Next, we have Virginia Woolf. And I literally don't know what to say. It's Virginia Woolf. She is so iconic. A Room of One's Own. I was shook because I went in completely blind, and it could have been the size of War and Peace, and it literally I would have not complained. I would have been seated, ready, taking notes. But I've read all of her novels, and I've read a good chunk of her nonfiction, and I just love her so much. Um, Even her minor novels are amazing, and I feel like she just wrote nothing bad. Like I honestly think that with Virginia Woolf, and yeah, so she's the next one. And my next three, this is interesting. We have Flannery O'Connor. I love Flannery. She's probably my favorite short story writer, or second, or won't spoil it. But yeah, I don't know what to say about Flannery. She only has two novels and two short story collections, but check them out. She's the only Southern Gothic author I've read so far that I've ever loved. Because I'm trying to make my way through Faulkner, and I'm like, Flannery could do this so much better. But yeah, The Good Man's Hard to Find is one of the greatest short story collections ever. The Violent Buried Away, Everything That Rises Must Converge, at Wise Blood, and her essays and letters. Don't skip on those because they are amazing and you should definitely check them out. Okay, last two. This is gonna be fun. So number two, we have Kafka. Kafka is probably the author that got me into classics. I think he's so relevant and modern. Like, there's a whole subsect on TikTok, and it's just girlies reading him, and he's so amazing. I've read all of his novels and short stories over the years, and I I just love him. Like he's so fresh, and I wish we had everything he wrote, but we don't. And so number one, my all this is for now, all time favorite author is, and I feel a bit off saying this because I haven't read everything because of translations and stuff, and that is Saint Augustine. I love Augustine. I chose this one today because this is a painting of Saint Augustine himself, the Dilf. But yeah, we got on Christian teaching today. I honestly think every time I read Saint Augustine, I feel smarter. Like he's just such a lovely guy. He's like obviously you got Confessions, you got City of God. Like do those. His on Christian teaching's amazing. Don't skip out on his notes he wrote about Genesis, And oh my god, did he do the Psalms as well? I could be wrong about that, but I know he did do Genesis, so check that out. And he's just brilliant. He's one of my favorite. He's probably is my favorite writer ever. He can do nothing wrong, and one day I will find, and because I only have him in Penguin and Oxford editions, but I just want him in more. I want more of him, and I feel like I'm only going to get that through ebook, and that's okay. But I'll keep on the hunt. So that's Augustine. He's my favorite author right now. And I do want to give some honorable mentions. And this is going to be mostly the Russians. I feel like your Tolstoys, your Dostoevskys, Gogol, who else would be in that list? Turgenev. I feel like a lot of them. I don't know if they're my favorites, like Chekhov. I just I don't know. I love the big major Russian works. I've read all pretty much nearly all of them. Um, as authors, I feel like maybe Tolstoy is probably my favorite ish. I feel like Dostoevsky's that bit more consistent because I love it's hard because the who had the greater novels, I can't pick a favorite and it's so tough. I think because I'm reading Dostoevsky now, he may be a bit tad higher, but because I'm gonna reread a lot of 1800s Russian novels this year, and I'm slowly making my way through. I've done Pushkin, and I just love him so much too. I don't know where he goes, so I'm glad I kind of forgot to put Russians in here because it would have been very brutal, and I would have had more of a mental breakdown than I already have. But yeah, that's my response to this tag. And in terms of tags, I tagged a lot of people because I want this tag to take off again. So I'm re-tagging Steve. I want Steve to redo this video because your favorites always change, and maybe in the 5 years or so, his favorites have changed. I'm also tagging Randy Ray, Joshua Crebo, Robin Song Reads, Joe Spivey, Amanda's Dusty Bookshelves, Robert G, Book Chat with Pat, Debs at Rainer Reads, Sarah the Bookish Knitter, and Hannah's Books. So I'll leave all of them in the description. And I would love to see them do this tag. And it's okay if I'm the only one that does this, but I feel like I had to get this tag off of my chest for all of you. So yeah, if you have any thoughts of my ranking or what I had my thoughts about any of these authors, please let me know in the comments because I'd love for you to do that. And yeah, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching BookTube, and I'll see you next time.